This is the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.
Hello, East Idaho Prepcast, IdahoSports.com, District 5, District 6 Athletics, Brandon Baney, Sean Kane. Sean, hello, how are you?
I'm as good as I have been.
Gosh. All right. So for those of you, you're going to get a little behind the scenes here. Sean and I just spent the last 45 minutes recording probably the best episode of all time of the East Idaho Prepcast.
My best jokes for sure.
Only problem is some idiot forgot to hit the record button. So you and I just had a conversation that didn't mean anything, and we're going to try to replicate it now. It won't be as good as the original, but are you ready, Sean?
Oh yeah, I'm more than ready.
All right. Let's start with state cross country. It was hosted at the Portneuf Wellness Complex in Pocatello this past weekend. We had some incredible stories across the board, starting with the 4A girls, where Nelah Roberts of Skyline, the first four-time champion in Idaho girls cross country history.
Yep, the four-time champion Roberts. Just it's hard to do once. Four is better, and just congrats for being the first ever to do that. Just a great job.
Meanwhile, congratulations are also in order for the Preston Indians girls, three-peat in girls cross country. Way to go, Preston.
Yeah, Preston had a bunch of they had the pack, as I like to call them, all running and placing in a very nice, neat fashion in the top 20 to get them that third straight.
Yeah, Ellie Jepson 6th, Marin Leffler 8th, Maya Ashley 9th, Ashley Scott 11th, Oakley Reed 13th, Bethany Moore 20th, all for Preston there. 4A boys title, Idaho Falls sweeps it. The Tigers win the team title, and Luke Athey wins the individual title. What a journey he had, Sean. He won the 5A championship as a sophomore, then missed his entire junior season. He was out of action for 16 months due to a stress fracture and then a surgery to correct that procedure. And so he comes back after missing a year, really 16 months, and wins in his senior season the 4A championship. What a story for Luke Athey of Idaho Falls.
Yeah, just a story of endurance, right? That's what cross country is all about, endurance, and he's had the most of it out of anyone coming back from that injury and winning, after a 16-month layoff. So great job by him, and coming, just being able to do that after being down for that long period of time and building back up is just amazing. So congratulations.
Certainly. At the 3A meet, South Fremont makes school history, Sean. It's their first cross-country championship in school history, and it comes courtesy of the South Fremont boys. Congratulations to the Cougars.
Yeah, the Cougar Den is raising another banner.
That's right. And more history for South Fremont, their first individual winner as well in cross-country history at South Fremont. And you might be thinking, it came on the boys' side, right? Since they won the team title. No, it was on the girls' side where they had their first boy or girl to bring home first place individually. So congratulations to South Fremont's, Sage Lyon. It took me a second to draw on the name. You'd think I knew it since we just talked about it half an hour ago.
And Sage will have the chance to do the 4 in a row too, right? So
Sage is a senior.
Oh, never mind.
She's a four-time placer at state, but she finally wins the championship here in her senior season. So congratulations there. The 3A girls championship is won by Snake River. They edged out Sugar Salem by 5 points. So Snake River won it 2 years ago. Sugar kind of stole it back last year. Snake River, they're just playing this tug of war with each other.
Yeah, the muddy pit is the state championship, right? You tug hard enough, you get the state championship. But yeah, great job by Snake River, and just a good job by both teams, able just to get back there every year and being fighting for it. Testament to both programs.
Definitely. 2A, of course, well represented by East Idaho. So you were talking about Bella Spencer, the freshman from West Jefferson. She wins the 2A individual title, and she might be the next four-time champion like Nelah Roberts from Skyline. A great start here to her cross-country career.
Yeah, and she won the Tiger Grizz, and there's a lot of comparisons about what could be, but what is now is that she's a state champion as a freshman, and it'll be exciting to see how her career builds after this.
Yeah, the 2A girls title won by who else? Soda Springs. They edge out Ryrie by 3 points. So Coach Jeff Horsley at Soda Springs has got it rocking and rolling again. Congrats to the Cardinals.
Yeah, the Cardinals trophy case is full, and they will be building a new one shortly because they do is win cross country titles, tons of them. So congrats to them and just a great program in Soda Springs.
Yeah, 13 in a row at one point here in the early part of the millennium. Lizzie Butler, the top runner, third place for Soda Springs. India Galloway took seventh. Ellie Wood was eighth. Rebecca Evans was 10th. Yannetti Garbett was 15th. On the boys' side, North Fremont sweeps it. The Huskies win their second title in 3 years. Corbin Johnston from North Fremont, your individual champ.
Yeah, Corbin Johnson, a great athlete. He goes in and beats, the other divisions when they do those kinds of meets in track, and just phenomenal by him. And I'm sure we'll hear from him later in the spring.
Yes, we will. Stay tuned. And then at the 1A competition, Sean, Rockland wins its first ever cross-country championship in school history. It came on the boys' side as they edged out Victory Charter by 2 points. So a tight win for the Bulldogs. Ezra Hubbard was their top individual. He took fourth place overall. Congratulations to Rockland.
Yeah, Rockland finding ways to win in every sport and did it for the first time in cross country, and no surprises there. So congrats to the Bulldogs.
Definitely. This Saturday, we will be broadcasting Rockland's quarterfinal round football game on IdahoSports.com as they host Tri-Valley. That's at 1:00 on Saturday. And at halftime, we are going to try and get boys cross country coach Jeremy Smith on for a little halftime interview to talk about the championship. How cool is that?
That'll be exciting. Just to hear what it is, to get that first one in program history from, the Bulldogs' mouth.
Yep. Let's see. Let's go to state volleyball, Sean, now, where it all took place up in North Idaho. We had one champion from East Idaho, the Madison Bobcats. They win their second consecutive 5A championship. Now, Eagle came through and beat them in the first championship match. It set up the if necessary, winner take all rematch.
Match 5.
Yeah, match 5, and Madison held on and won. So congratulations to the Bobcats.
Yeah, nice job, Madison. I just, back-to-back's great. It's great for making shirts. It's great to put on your rings. It feels good all the way around. So congratulations to Madison, and good job by Eagle as well, to come back through that back end of the draw. But yeah, Madison back-to-back. It sounds good.
Yeah, they did it with a new coach this year as well. At the 4A meet, Sean, Bonneville takes second, Pocatello takes third. Skyview is your champions, but for the Bees and the Thunder, both coming out with trophies. Feels nice.
Yeah, nice job. Pocatello hadn't had a trophy in volleyball for 33 years. And to bring one back, and that the program hadn't been to state in 33 years either. So their first trip back in 30 plus years, and to come back with a trophy. I don't know what more you want. What more do you want? That's a story in itself. So congratulations to them. And of course, Bonneville had a great season, did a lot of great things. And they had to come back and beat Pocatello, right? Pocatello beat them first. Then Bonneville comes back, beats Pocatello. So Pocatello and Bonneville got very familiar with each other, but unfortunately they didn't get familiar enough with that pesky Skyview dynasty in, where is it? The Boise area? I don't know.
Yeah, the Skyview's in Nampa.
I know where it is.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I thought, yeah. 4 in a row for Skyview, 6 of the last 8 as well for the
Incredible.
Hawks. Yeah, 3A, Snake River is your runner-up. They fall to Fruitland. 2A, Malad is your runner-up. They fall to Melba. 1A D1, Grace is your runner-up. They fall to Troy. And at the 1A D2 tournament, Grace Lutheran takes third. It was their first tournament ever in school history, and they come home with the trophy as well. So we only had the one champion, Sean, but a lot of teams coming home with hardware, which is great to see.
Yeah, and Grace Lutheran, we talked about them all year, just magical run by them, and with 7 young ladies able to bring home a trophy, the first in program history. Just an amazing run. And not only did they do that by winning at state, they had to beat their same conference teams at state to do it. So it was no fluke, right? They win in conference, beat the same teams at state, and I'm talking Rockland, Mackey. They did it. Trophy. Congrats.
Yep. So that is what happened in state volleyball. Let's get to the first round of the football postseason, Sean. We'll start in Class 2A because that's where the most excitement was for East Idaho. I feel like it was a game you were at. Firth was at Aberdeen in a first round playoff game. Aberdeen gets the win 22-14. This game was tied up at 14 all in the fourth quarter. Aberdeen goes on a really long drive. It's capped off by a touchdown run from a yard out from Hyatt Beck with just 1:59 to play. Aberdeen wins 22-14. What did you see in this game?
You saw Aberdeen physical up front. They're going to run the ball, and that's what they did. And they do it between, Lupe Ortiz as the quarterback, Hyatt Beck, and also Hernandez comes in as well. So they have a three-headed monster of running. And that's what was on display and led by Lupe Ortiz, the sophomore who's come in to play, as Gage Driscoll had another injury setback. But yeah, Lupe Ortiz was the player of the game, and there's a reason why he's a sophomore and playing quarterback. So nice job by Aberdeen to come around with that first round win.
Definitely. Bear Lake also got a first round win over Wendell, 42-0. The Bears jumped out to a 21-0 lead. Rhett Lloyd threw a touchdown pass, ran for a touchdown, and then Bear Lake had a pick six on defense. And just like that, in the blink of an eye, it was 21-0 in the first quarter. They win 42-0. So now as we look at the 2A bracket here, Sean, the quarterfinal matchups, you've got a rematch of sorts, right? Aberdeen will be at Westside on Friday night at 6:00, and also another East Idaho showdown. It's all East Idaho on the bottom half of that bracket. Bear Lake will play North Fremont inside Holt Arena on Thursday at 5:30. This game will kick off the quarterfinal round across the state. It's a game you can catch on IdahoSports.com. Which game are you more excited for? Aberdeen Westside or Bear Lake North Fremont?
I think that Aberdeen Westside is where I'm going to lean towards, just because they had a pretty close game this year. Aberdeen's nemesis in that conference, that division, or nemesis really for anyone in 2A football, is Westside. And I think they're gonna be ready to play. I have no doubt in my mind Westside will be ready to play. And it'll come down. I think it could come down to being a close game, and who can kind of control the ball. Both teams run the ball and run the clock exceptionally well. So I think it'll be an exciting matchup, but I'm going to have to lean a little towards Westside. But Westside, Dayton Fall, playoff football, pirate ships, what else do you want? It'll be a good one.
Yep, for sure. And Bear Lake, playing North Fremont, the Huskies are really good. They've got, I think you said you watched a little bit of film of them, probably the best offensive defensive line you've seen.
Yeah, the North Fremont, I just think it's going to be a task for any team in this bracket to come up with a way to take down that defense and offensive line. They're able to get 5 yards, on a Tuesday in the afternoon if they want. And you got to find a way to stop that. And can Bear Lake do it? I don't know. They're peaking at the right time. I think it'll be a time control, ball control, and I think Fremont does that a little better. And if Bear Lake can come up with some big plays, maybe. But I like North Fremont.
Yeah. Let's go to the 4A bracket, Sean. This is where the other intriguing action was in the opening round. Bonneville travels to Sandpoint. They lose 48-0. Their season is over. Shelley travels to Skyview and loses 21-14. The Russets took a 7-0 lead on a touchdown run by Chance Waite from 31 yards out. Skyview tied it 7-7. Shelley takes the lead again in the second quarter, 14-7 on a 3-yard touchdown run from Brecker Williams. And then Skyview ties it again, 14-14. It stayed that way until 2:42 to play in the ball game. Skyview gets a touchdown pass, and Shelley just never could get that third score in the second half. And a great season for the Russets comes up a touchdown short on the road.
Yeah, just kind of the storybook of the Shelley season. They're so close in so many games against big teams and just not able to find that breakthrough. But a great job by Josh Wells and that group over there to really a team no one really talked about, but almost beat Pocatello, had chances against Hillcrest. So a team that was not in the hype column ended up being very good this year, and we'll look forward to seeing him next.
Yeah, for sure. So teams that did win from East Idaho, Hillcrest shuts out Canyon Ridge 35-0. They got up 21-0 at halftime. Trace and Keller, Braxton Battleson have touchdown runs. Peyton King hits Jace Judy for a touchdown also. And then from there, they kind of powered down and got a 35-0 win. And then we had an all East Idaho doubleheader inside Holt Arena, rematch of the Emotion Bowl. Skyline beats Idaho Falls 45-6. The Grizzlies led at halftime 35-0. Carmine Garcia throws touchdown passes to Zion Crockett and Amani Morrell. Morrell scores twice on the ground. Crockett scores a rushing TD. Skyline wins the rematch pretty easily. Pocatello beats Preston 48-28. Riken Echohawk is finally led out of the barn. 204 yards, 3 touchdowns rushing. Carson Christensen had 94 yards and 2 scores on the ground. Dre Contreras threw for 208 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ty Wilkinson caught both TDs. And so they're all moving on. So we have Skyview at Hillcrest. We have Skyline at Twin Falls. And we've got Pocatello hosting Sandpoint Friday night at 5:30 at Lookout Field. Pokey was in the Dome last week in Holt Arena. They get squeezed out this week. They've got to play outside, which could lead to an interesting matchup with Sandpoint in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Pocatello was kind of in the same situation in the first round last year. They played at Lookout on a cold night against Lakeland. Not Lakeland. Yeah, Lakeland.
Yeah, Lakeland.
Lakeland. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking Lake City. There's a lot of lakes up where you live now.
Yes.
Lakeland, the Lakeland Hawks, right? And Lakeland had a bunch of opportunities, fumbled the ball, couldn't come away with a win. So Pocatello's they're a huge offensive unit that there's no surprise with Julian Bowie, the Boise State basketball commit, and the so mentioned guys you just talked about. And then you've got Sandpoint. You got that contrast, right? An East and a North team. They don't know each other. They know they exist only on paper. And Friday, we're going to find out, which team's better.
Pocatello's big strength is running the football. Sandpoint's greatest strength is stopping the run. And so we'll see which strength is ultimately stronger. This should be a really good one. Sandpoint at Pocatello, and what should be a pretty low scoring but great affair. Skyline goes to Twin Falls. I like the Grizzlies here on the road. Twin Falls is a little banged up. They've been able to navigate most of the season without a couple of key players. This is the first time the Grizzlies have really had to travel in a while in the playoffs, right? They've always just played in Holt Arena. True road game, but I like the Grizzlies here.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think, Twin Falls, there's some question marks, but when they kind of took it to Minico and the district championship, those question marks went away a little bit for me. But I mean, here's the deal. What travels well is Amani Morrell. I think he travels well. He's like the accessory everyone needs. It's like a Gucci bag on the airplane. I think Skyline's got the edge there because they're going to run the ball, and Amani Morrell has been, in my opinion, maybe one of the best players in 4A this year. I think he's consistently good. He can run through the tackles. He's got breakout speed. So I'd lean a little towards Skyline with Amani Morrell.
Yeah, and somehow unheralded all at the same time too, which is interesting for Skyline. And then Hillcrest at home against Skyview. We both like the Knights there to continue their undefeated season. 3A, Teton beat Fruitland 47-14. Thomas Roosevelt had 3 touchdowns, 2 on the ground, also returned a punt, 85 yards for a touchdown. Jack Joyce ran for 2 touchdowns. Jack Nelson threw 2 touchdowns to Ty Brown in the victory. Snake River had a home win over Wood River, 28-10. Wood River actually scored first 3-0, and then Snake River scored the next 28 points. Johnny Jones, Andy Serna, Peyton Williams all rush for touchdowns. Williams also throws the score to Royal Daly. So they are moving on. Marsh Valley season comes to an end with a 38-16 loss at Weiser. They played well late. Seth Barchi hits a 39-yard field goal. Corbridge Bastion scores a touchdown run. Keaton Belknap hits Chandler Bennett for a touchdown as well. And American Falls had to travel to Timberlake last Saturday. This is a game I was at for IdahoSports.com. The Beavers lost 69-27. It was a tight game at halftime. Then in the third quarter, Timberlake sort of asserted its will. But I'm telling you, American Falls is a fun team to watch. Zach Grigg runs the ball hard. They have I was having some fun with some of the American Falls parents. I said, you guys need to make t-shirts that say Brower Power on them, because Dax Brower is the quarterback. Bo Brower is the top wideout. And then Austin Adair really impressed me too, with the way he can go up and catch the football. He made an incredible one-handed grab with 2 defenders sandwiched over him. I'm still not sure how he hauled that in, but Austin Adair really impressed me. American Falls, I think, is a year away. They're young. This is kind of their first time back in the playoffs in a couple of years. Good experience. I would expect them to come back and be more competitive next season. But Snake River and Snake River and Teton are still alive from East Idaho, as is Sugar Salem, Sean. So Sugar Salem hosts Timberlake Saturday at 12 at Madison High School in Rexburg. You have Snake River traveling to Homedale Friday night, 6 o'clock. And then you also have Teton playing Buell inside Holt Arena on Thursday night. And that game will be, is that Thursday or Friday? Yeah, Thursday night, 8:15. All 3 of those games are on IdahoSports.com. How many teams are advancing in the 3A bracket?
2. 2. I mean, Timberlake, gets a big win, but the reward is to have to go to play Sugar Salem. Not too. I mean, you're pretty close at Madison.
Might as well. Yeah.
Yeah, might as well be. Sugar knows that area very well. I think Sugar Salem wins that game. The game East Idaho is going to have a much harder time is going to be that Homedale Snake River, right? It's no surprise. Homedale and Snake River have played each other in the finals of this tournament for many years now. So I think Homedale probably will come out with a win over Snake River, but Snake River's had a great season, and I wouldn't be surprised if they make it competitive. And then also I like Teton getting that win over Buell, who just kind of narrowly beat McCall Donnelly 20-12. But I do like Teton. I could see a Teton Sugar Salem final, but we got to get through these second round games first before we get the Kane predictions going here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We won't fire up the Kane predictor until next week. But yeah, I like Sugar and Teton both to advance and play what should be really good semifinals. There's like a clear top 5, I think, in 3A with Sugar, Homedale, Teton, and then Kimberly and Weiser. So it should be a really fun Final 4 in 3A. Let's talk 5A. Rigby beats Middleton in pretty convincing fashion. Rigby gets a 42-16 win. Luke Flowers passes for 225 yards and 2 touchdowns. Brecken Searle, 90 yards receiving, and he caught both touchdowns. Peyton Klingler rushes for 66 yards and a touchdown. Carter Freeman has a pick 6. It all adds up to a win for Rigby. They now travel to Eagle in what should be one of the best games of the weekend. It's Friday night, 7 o'clock on IdahoSports.com, a true coin flip game if there were one.
Yeah, I mean, this is when you look at all the games happening this weekend, Thursday through Saturday, this is the one that I think rises to the top. You've got Eagle, who's battled everyone up in Boise, won a lot of close games. You've got Rigby, who everyone kind of was like, they lost all these games to really good Utah teams. We don't know. They lost to Coeur d'Alene. I think Rigby's peaking at the right time. And we know what Rigby does. Rigby goes to Boise and wins games against teams that they are, not necessarily favored to win. They've done this for a few years now, and I don't know if that will change. But like you said, I wouldn't be surprised if Eagle won. But I like Rigby going in and doing what they've done in years past, is winning against essentially the top seed from Boise.
Yeah, and on the same line, Highland got a first round bye. They will host Owyhee Friday night, 5:30 inside Holt Arena on IdahoSports.com. Owyhee picked up their first playoff win in school history last week. They needed overtime to beat Boise. I like Highland here, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you give that Highland coaching staff more time to prepare and hope for a good outcome. If you're the opposing team, Nick Sorrell and all those guys up there, they're gonna be locked in and loaded. So I like Highland as well.
Yeah, good luck to the Rams and the Rigby Red Devils, Sean. During the playoffs, Rigby back in the day in the 50s, their school mascot was the Red Devils, and then
is that why they had the horns on there? Did they have horns on there? I saw that.
Yeah, they do this every year for the playoffs. They become the Rigby Red Devils. because that's what they originally were back in the 50s. And then there was a fire at Manan used to have its own high school. It burned down. And so all the Manan students, instead of building a new high school, they said, well, we'll just send them to Rigby. That's when they became the Trojans. So every year when they're in the playoffs, Rigby becomes the Red Devils. It's kind of a cool thing there.
Yeah, I saw their helmets on something, and it looks like the Arizona, devil thing.
Yeah,
I don't know what to describe it, but you know what I'm saying.
It's a little pitchfork thing.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. It's kind of cool that they do that every year. Kind of throwbacks to the Red Devils. Okay. 8-man football, 1A D1. Sean Grace beats Carey in the opening round last week, 28-6. Kind of interesting. Braden Kimball had been playing quarterback for Grace most of the year. He moved out to wide receiver. Sophomore Gavin Draper was playing QB now. And Draper played well. He ran for a touchdown, and he threw touchdown passes to Kobe Rindlisbaker as well as Kimball. Kimball caught a touchdown. Wyatt Cutler also scored on the ground. Grace gets the victory. They now have to travel to Cami, though, Friday night, 6:00, outdoors in the cold weather. I think this might be where the road stops for Grace. This is a rematch of the semifinals from last year that was played inside Holt Arena. This time they got to play outdoors in Cami.
Yeah, definitely the most intriguing matchup, I think, in the second round quarterfinals of 1A D1 is Cami versus Grace. I like Grace. I think they find ways to win. It'll be interesting to see if they keep that quarterback arrangement the same. Maybe they had it in their back pocket and we're keeping it secret until now. And that's a lot to prepare for, a little different look from a team that's played with someone else at quarterback, but definitely a hard road win to go all the way up north and win. But I think this will be one of the closest games maybe in the quarterfinals, and it could just come down to mistakes. But you're gonna lean north now. I'm gonna lean Grace. I'm gonna lean into the Grizzlies.
All right. It sounds like a winning strategy. I mean, Grace did get all the way to the championship game last year. Butte County also playing this weekend. They had a first round bye. They will now play the Valley Vikings inside Holt Arena Friday night at 8:15 on IdahoSports.com. Valley has a dynamic dual threat quarterback in Josh Hardy, but I really like Butte County's defense here to put the clamps down and move on to the semis.
Yeah, I'd agree. Butte County's defense has kind of been their the rallying flag this year, and I think it'll continue in this game.
Yep. 1A D2, Sean Mackey's season comes to an end. They fell to Hagerman in the opening round, 70-0. So all that's left is Rockland. They're carrying the flag for East Idaho. They're going to host Tri-Valley Saturday, 1 p.m. on IdahoSports.com. Been a long time since Rockland's been in the Final Four. Can they get there this season?
Looking at the games, I feel like the bracket probably went as best it could for them. And I like their chances against Tri-Valley. I like Teague Matthews, the everything player for Rockland, defense and offense, to be a big factor in this game. And at home, I like Rockland at home. It's kind of a fun place for 8-man football, I think, in Rockland, kind of an untold gem here in East Idaho. Everyone, and I've never been there, but I have friends that have family members that live there, and they're just like, Rockland is one of the the best places to go to a game. And so I like Rockland there. I hear it from a lot of people. I've never been there, but my sources are never wrong.
I've been there for a playoff game 2 years ago. It was a great time. I was well fed. They took care of me in the food department, and the coaches were great. The athletic director, Andy Nelson, is great. They're all just great people there in Rockland, for sure. So it's going to be a really fun time. Saturday, 1 p.m. on IdahoSports.com. All right, Sean, we did it. We recreated our entire episode, and we did it in like half the time too. How about that?
I mean, yeah, we just knew what we were going to say this time.
The dress rehearsal went pretty well, and now the real thing, here it is. So
yeah, it'll be good. I mean, I think the one thing you failed to mention is IdahoSports.com is going to have 17 games this weekend.
Yes, there are 24 games happening across the state for the quarterfinals. We will be broadcasting 17 of those games. If you want to see which ones we're covering, click on the Game Streams tab on the homepage at IdahoSports.com. Sean, rest up. You got a big game Friday night, Sandpoint and Pocatello.
Yeah, I'm I'm excited to see what can happen. I think I've seen. You ever remember that movie, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly? I think I've seen the good, I've seen the bad, and I've seen the ugly of the Thunder. Um, and it's kind of like, who's gonna what part of that are they gonna get? Because when they're good, like last week, 500 plus yards of offense, they're hard to stop, and the Thunder have a very, very underrated defense. Now they have a good linebacker in Devin Rodriguez. I don't think he's any um he's not going to be a surprise to anyone, but I think overall their defense is kind of underrated and has done a lot of things for the size they have. But, I think Sandpoint takes down a Bonneville team that's very run heavy going into it. Obviously, Bonneville not having their best running back, but still a run heavy team. It's going to be a good contrast to see, what if, the defense of Sandpoint can stop Pocatello, because they can score in a hurry and find ways to score and have about a bazillion people that can score. And then what I like the Thunder a little bit is someone we don't give a ton of credit to is Garrett Keller. Their kicker is a phenomenal kicker. He's really good at onside kicks too. He's a little weapon. I think that might be the difference in that game. Now that I think about it, Garrett Keller, Pocatello is he's won a game for him against Shelley. He's gotten onside kicks. He can kind of be that game changer if it's a close game.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Pocatello defense, Devin Rodriguez and Carson Christensen, the two linebackers. Man, it all starts there, and they're both so good. So yeah, it should be a fun defensive smash mouth type game Friday night on IdahoSports.com. And so check out and see if we're covering your game this weekend. 17 of 24 games here on IdahoSports.com. Thanks for tuning into the East Idaho Prepcast, everybody. For Sean Kane, I'm Brandon Baney. Enjoy the competition this weekend, and we'll see you next time on IdahoSports.com.